Hello, and I haven't done one of these for a while, but the reveal of the Natural History Museum modular has spared me into wanting to have a little talk about it, um, particularly because I was really looking forward to this one, and I don't know, I think there's a few missed opportunities with this. Anyway, it's obviously, we got some leaked images yesterday. We've now got the official images today. So I've gone onto LEGO and we're going to have a quick look, and I'm going to give you some thoughts on it and make a decision whether I'm actually going to get this one or not. So I pretty much have most of the modulars. I think I started with the fire station, so I missed out on Cafe Corner, Greengrocer and Market Street. I don't have the Sanctum either, if that's classed as a modular, but for the main sort of modular buildings, I have everyone up to didn't get the Jazz Club. Not because I didn't want the Jazz Club, but because I wasn't in a rush to get the Jazz Club this time. I seemed to stick around a fair amount of time. I don't always pick them up on the first. I don't often even try and get them discounted because I think the modulars are quite good value for money. As most non-licensed stuff is from LEGO these days. So I recently broke down City. I haven't really done a video on that explaining what I was done, but it will be coming. And as a result of that is, do I really want to continue getting modulars? Just because I had them. Well, I really do like building modulars. I think they're one of the best experiences for building, bar Ninjago, City, Docks, Gardens, where I feel they've taken the modular building just a little bit further on in creative and enjoyability for me. But these are cracking builds. For anyone who hasn't got a modular, they're really good fun to build. And they always look good on display. So this one's obviously landed. We've been big talk about it. It's the biggest one. It's obviously a lot of money, $259.99 in the UK. So it's quite a lot of money, but it's 4,000 pieces. So again, I said it's great value. Yes, some of those pieces are going to be small. Looking at it instantly, there's quite a lot of small pieces, but for the general sort of value look on it, they always look like really good deals to me, modulars. So yeah, the pre-order for this is up. So another thing LEGO doing is, which is another strange thing for modulars. So like my lug and lots of other people, they call it New Modular Day, January the 1st. They all go down, they meet up, the local LEGO store, they probably have something to eat. It's obviously New Year's Day, or the closest to New Year's Day, depending on what day New Year's Day falls on. I don't think you tend to open if it's on a Sunday, but might be wrong. I've never really been, because I don't really buy them on New Year's Day, but I do know it's quite a ritual and people talk about it. They go down to buy the modular. There's been some controversy over gift with purchases recently, some not coming out till after the modulars launched and all the rest of it. And ironically, this one comes with the moving truck, which was one that didn't release with the Jazz Club, came after, which I did get. I think I got it on the secondary market for a reasonable price. Nice little build that. Really enjoyed it. So yeah, this is weird, but December as well as a pre-order. So we're not even doing January, we're doing December. And I was talking to like a couple of people and I thought, well, it doesn't really make much sense, does it? Why move from January to December? There's a lot of stuff that's come out this year. And all I can think of, from my point of view, is maybe the sales aren't good this year and they want to push it further and get some pre-orders in and get this out before Christmas for a Christmas present, which is interesting because catalogue arrived not so long ago. And I don't think I've had a catalogue for a long time. In fact, another one of my friends said, I don't think they've ever had a catalogue. And all of a sudden they'd got a catalogue. And it really arrived with like the Smiths catalogue and all the other toy catalogues that probably come out at this time of year. For Christmas, and obviously this won't be in it for obvious reasons because it wasn't released till afterwards. So I think that's a missed opportunity if that's what they're going for. But yeah, this is potentially a Christmas present rather than a post-Christmas present, and I'm sure a lot of people will get it and build it on the run up to Christmas even. Not quite like the Home Alone set with the bags per day, but I can definitely see people obviously getting this on the first and then building it and doing it on streams and content and everything out of it. It just seems weird to me. Like I say, are they trying to push sales? Are there something we don't know about? Maybe, or maybe it's just they've just decided to move the window on it. Got a lot of releases planned for next year, possibly. But my instant sort of feeling is that maybe they want to push the sales up for this quarter. But it's another big set to help do that because it's obviously £260. So yeah, let's have a quick look at this. I can move myself around if I need to. So what have we got here? So first off the bat, I'm sure everyone's looking at colour and wondering. I've just watched some of the video from the designer, Chris McVeigh, who did the police station modular, which I really liked, but does look better with another floor. So I did modify mine to have an extra floor in, and it looks way, way better. And this one, so yeah, Chris McVeigh's designed this one. And he's obviously done a little talk at the sort of ambassador RFL day, the RLFM, day where they've had there, so they've been able to see these sets and talk about and have something to say. There's people that put that video up, and he's had a little talk about stuff around this set and discuss the colour, why the colour is the colour. And the colour doesn't bother me. I'm just going to say that right now. The colour doesn't bother me. I completely understand, again, why they've gone down the route of doing this colour. It will give us new parts in olive green, and I think you just mentioned that there's quite a lot of new recolours of parts we have not got in olive green, and that is a very big factor of modulars over the years. They have always tried to introduce different colour schemes with different modulars and new pieces in that colour for that one. Very few new elements created with modulars, but definitely recolours is a common theme. So we've got this olive green, we've got this sort of dark tan, and we've got lots of white, and then we've got obviously dark bluish grey roof. The colours, like I said, the colour doesn't bother me. It's not the best, but I completely get why they've done it. My issue is, straight off the bat, looking on this, I was expecting the exterior to be wow and the interior to be weak because of the size of the building and the piece count. It's actually, for me, the other way around. The exterior is weaker and the interior is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. But I'm not going to be negative. I'm going to look at the stuff that I do like first. I do like the pillars, very reminiscent of the town hall. Maybe too reminiscent of the town hall. Maybe that's causing a problem. It's giving me that Back to the Future vibe, the clock tower. I've said that to a few people. I think other people have said the same thing. It's a bit hard to ignore it in popular culture. It's quite an iconic building in an iconic film. And there is that similarity to it, which may be a good thing for some people who are going to get this, but for me, not so much. But yeah, the pillars of the town hall, I appreciate a lot of people might not have got the town hall, but it makes it look town hall-y. That's my problem. The second thing straight off the bat, I didn't really notice until the official images came out, is the doors, the glass doors. I'm not a fan of the glass doors. I kind of get the feeling this is meant to be an older style building. So would it really have glass doors on it, or would it have more wooden doors, older, strong, thick doors with glass inlets? I don't know. There's certainly a suggestion of brown window framing. The window frames, really, really good. I like the use of what is, I think, the candle pieces, and an additional frame on the front of a thing is something that I really, really, really like. I think that's a really good idea to put that on the front of that. The use of the dark tan to sort of split that part there, again, I like that. Statues, yep, brilliant. The little black harpoons, I think the harpoons on the front as the railgate, fantastic little fence. Not sure about it though. I'm not sure about the fence, whether a museum would have a fence, but that'll come to something else that I'll discuss, that where it might have worked. Nothing wrong with the pavement. Obviously, we've got the lamppost. Really nice tree. Love the fact that they're doing the little what they call leaves with 3 leaves with pin in white. There's a new colour inside the pink for the blossom tree. Looks fantastic. Brick built is that dinosaur. Looks a lot better than when I first saw it in some of the leaked images. Now I see it now. The only thing I don't like is the white bananas. I like having the bananas in white, and I completely understand why they would do that to give us bananas in white. I'm not sure if they've been used in white before, but they would be very good, like architecturally, for using up here. For things you do on your own creations. So getting them in white is brilliant. I just think they look too thick for the ribs on this. They just look out of proportion with the legs and the neck. They're quite a thick piece. Don't like the grey on the tree. Not really sure what they were going for then. This should have been recolored, or I mean, if it's meant to be like taping around it or some kind of, I mean, it's definitely going to be there structurally to keep the tree in place. Very similar to the bookshop type tree. I just don't like the grey. I don't understand it. It stands out too much. Should be brown, and surely they could have recolored those pieces in brown if they didn't have them available. It's a strange decision. Yeah. So overall, this is very nice, very pleasant. The ingots recessed again. I like that. The window frame's really good. Not really much to say about it, other than I do not like the steps. This should be deeper. I don't know why it screams, but it screams to me the library from Ghostbusters. Like, it just needs to be a bit more depth on those steps, bigger steps. Obviously, got box art here. It's not really going to help us. Yeah, you see again, look, very thin. And then you've got these different types of flowers, elements, the blossom dropping, the birds, all really nice. And this little gate. Now, if those steps were bigger, here's my thought. If I was going to buy this and mod it, if those steps are deeper, they would lead up to like the first floor. You would potentially have the ability to have a basement, which would dramatically change this element that this is too short for a museum. 2 floors at that height, the roof, fine, but it really needed and a decent basement that you could fit a minifigure in. It just needed elevating up. And with a basement, what would have been really, really cool would have been to have the curator's offices and, the place where they do like clean up historical artifacts and examine them, and that lots of museums have, like the research part of it. Down below would have been fantastic. And it comes with another idea that I would do that I feel is a missed opportunity by LEGO that they could have done. But these steps, with the slope pieces on, genius. I mean, Chris does some very good steps. The steps in the police station modular are really, really nice design. There's map of the Earth's core. I think there's a lot of geodes and stuff in this to do with the geology and stuff and things. And you've obviously got the dinosaur can go posed in here and we'll go across 2 floors. Everyone's going to talk about that, so we don't really need to go into too much. You've got the next floor up, which is just fantastic in terms of we've got space, we've got a space orbital map, you've got these fantastic little tiny models of minifigure history, I think they're calling it. So you've got pirates, forestmen, or forest guardians, whatever you want to call them, and castle, and then you've got these little builds that just look brilliant. Now that is what you want to see in a LEGO museum. That is spot on, nailed it. That bit there is probably my favorite section, straight off the bat. Just the time of putting those little nods to classic LEGO in there is quality. Obviously another view of the dinosaur again works quite well, but they're just too thick. Look, and it's not just the width; it's the full sort of circumference of them, I think. But I do appreciate them using them. But I'd probably take them out and swap them for teeth or something to make that bit thinner. This thing it's meant to be a fossil, saber-tooth skull, some copper thing. They said something. This guy, Is it just me, or does anybody else see it? And I know somebody said look familiar, but to me, he looks like Crooks from Ninjago, who was the curator of the museum, but actually one of the Time Twins. So straight off, I see Crooks in that. Whether that's intentional and we're just like crossing over to Ninjago, I don't know. But yeah, that looks like, to me, that looks like that could be Crooks or if they use the curator in something else. I don't know what they're trying to nod at, but for me, it really does look like him. Again, the curator's office has been using the space at the top, which I get. It's, you know, it looks quite good that they've put it up there. But that could have been, I don't know, it could have been anything. Could have been something like more of an observatory would have been potentially good. I know they put the telescope up there, but with the dome effect, could they have included a little mini observatory in there? Maybe that's what I would do if I'm moving this downstairs into a basement. And I certainly think you've got the piece count and the way of doing it. These new windows these windows coloured in black, new in coloured black, look great. And if we get a better view of them, again, good selection of minifigures, a couple of the uniforms. Again, standard modular stuff, doing well, done very well. Bit at the back, this bit here, look, it just doesn't go. I don't know what they're saying. They're saying about looking at it, how they look at it holistically across the street. It just doesn't look right. A lot of people have said to me when I've talked about the sort of early images that you'd expect the museum to have more gapping around it, like be located in a park or something, or a little bit more grandeur in the thing. And I get it. You're going to put it on a shelf and display it with other modulars. You're not going to be able to do that. You're going to be limited for space. It just doesn't look right. And whether it being higher and grander, forgetting about the colour, because if you change the olive to the sort of predictable brick yellow or sand colour, it's going to look like the police station, isn't it? Ultimately. And so if you keep it olive, but it's higher up, it's going to look more imposing. The colour isn't necessarily the problem that's causing it to clash. It's more it's a big wide thing. It's not sort of like this way, but depth wise, it's not very depthful. And this boutique hotel is a really cracking build, but mine has another floor. It looks a million times better with just a repeat of that second floor. And whereas getting two boutique hotels and doing some modifications to do that and having lots of spare parts if you're only going to use one floor is what I did. Wasn't too expensive. I think buying two of these at £260 will be expensive if you want to build it bigger to give it that imposing footprint. Not so much against the Jazz Club. I think the Jazz Club's not a bad size. Nothing really I would do with the Jazz Club. I'm not a fan of the pizza place running into the Jazz Club, but that's a different story. But yeah, I just don't think it's big enough. And I think by lifting it up and having a basement area, having that extra detail would make a whole difference to this shop. So in isolation, again, it looks really good, especially in some of the lifestyle shots, not the usual terrible lifestyle shots. But yeah, it looks solid. It looks a really well-designed build. There's not a mixture of colours on the outside, something I think they're striving for, which I appreciate. And that's pretty much it for the images. There's like a 360 video. I think we've looked at everything here. So the reason I really wanted to do this video was basically put my ideas out there, because straight away off the bat, I've said to a few people, it would look better with a basement. If we go back to the frontal shot, it would look better with a basement area where you could shift down the curators down below. It literally came to me while we was doing this video, having the telescope coming out of here, being able to just pop it through the observatory I think would be cracking, with a space theme, because there is like a little space display that's all classic space in the blue and grey. Again, like nano and micro scale stuff that's executed really, really well. Hats off to the design team for what they've done. But by having that extra area, you could store artifacts in there. And what I mean is, you could have a few nods too, even if it's just a little, like little minifigure or a little brick built something or other, Egyptian or Roman, and so you could swap out the exhibits in the and rechange it. You know, give us a couple more of these posters, so we could change this wing. Instead of it being about space, we could do, you know, like I say, Egyptian side to it. That would be so good, and I think that's what I would do. I would have the bottom basement section with additional artifacts, exhibits that can be placed in, so you can change it up. I just think that's a real big missed opportunity by Lego, because when you think about Lego and how it is, I really don't think that would have affected the price or the piece count as much. I still think they probably could have landed this for around that kind of monetary value quite easily. Did we need the guy cleaning the window? Could we have dropped, because the minifigures always had a lot of money to sets. Could we have dropped the guy cleaning the window? Is that necessary? It's a bit of a nod to the Grand Emporium, I think. You know, you've got a couple of nods here: the Parisian, the Grand Emporium. I do like these nano figures. Never thought of that. It's a really good idea to put them inside those arches. So it's something I might actually do in the castle now I've seen it. And that's what I love about these modulars. They're always giving me ideas and thoughts for my own builds. And these statues are going to be so useful for just stuff like that, putting statues in. They were great. The ones in the Rivendell set were, again, great to get some printed different grey statues. I just like the minifigure statues. I think they help sell a mock, and they're really useful. So, like I said, I just think there's so many missed opportunities that they could have done. And maybe if they'd have, I don't know, the price point will have been set. That's probably inevitable. And what they've done on the interior is spot on. But I'm really, really sort of missed opportunity, disappointed in this. It could have been arguably one of the best modulars ever. Instead, I'm feeling a bit blah. I don't know whether to get it. I don't know whether not to get it. If I do get it and modify it, it's not really into the sort of thing that I do nowadays. But then I feel like I really need to put my stamp on it. And maybe that's what I need to do with modulars, is stop worrying about keeping them as they are and start, you know, really changing them significantly to how I want them, and not look at them as things I'm going to potentially, even though I've built them, look at moving them on at some point. I don't know. It causes me too many questions and not enough answers. And as someone like say, somebody who's a huge modular fan, who's built a lot of the modulars, who's got a lot of those, displayed a lot of the modulars, has always been an advocate for them. It started with the Jazz Club, which started to decline a little bit. And I was hoping this one was going to sort of lift it up. And I just think it's nearly there, but it's just missed a ton of opportunities that they could have done. You know, there's quite a lot of pieces in this little cleaning, window cleaning thing that's just not needed. You could lose that all day long and recoup some of those pieces that could be used on a few other exhibits or something. Gift with purchase, that incentive for people to buy it. A gift with purchase, instead of it being another vehicle, which is what it might be by if some of the leaks are to be believed, and they're not often wrong, sorry. It could well be another vehicle. Instead of being a vehicle, other display pieces as a gift with purchase, you know, a little minifigure night watchman, for example, would have been quality. You know, obviously night at the museum. A little night watchman and a few, exhibits, even maybe some dusty things as a gift with purchase. A small little set really would have stood with this spot on, and people would have been like, yeah, again, it would have been another one of those ones that probably went ridiculous on the secondary market, but would have helped sell this set rather than say another vehicle, if it is what it's going to be. Because I think we've got enough vehicles. I certainly don't. If it is the vehicle that it might be, I don't see how it fits with the museum. Whereas at least the moving truck made sort of sense. The taxi was probably the better of what they've done recently. I think the taxi was perfect. The moving truck's a good build, but not necessarily a jazz club related thing. But I get it. But yeah, something like that, additional display pieces that you could have swapped out with a poster that you could hang up would have been absolutely spot on. Anyway, let me know what you think in comments, whether you agree with me, whether you disagree with me. I like a bit of engagement. We like to spark this discussion. I don't like to sit and just come on here and rave about stuff constantly that LEGO do, because there is stuff that they don't do well or could do better. The beauty of it is that the dilemma it's causing me is that, which maybe what they're doing to me, is the sort of something that I potentially wasn't going to get at all, for the fact that I've just changed the fact that I'm not doing city stuff anymore. Has now made me think, do I want to get this now, so I can sort of put my little vision on it and sort out what I think is wrong with it. And that is what is good about LEGO. No matter what they say, when you buy a £600 set, when you buy if they ever get to 1,000, which they're going to do, £1,000 set, you still have, whether you only like 90% of it, or because I think if you don't like at least 70% of what you're buying, don't buy it. But you can change it. If you don't like this, you can completely redo it. The colors, everything. There's no rules on what you want to do with it. They're just throwing out a set with an idea. And I know people like sets and they build the sets and they display the sets, but for me, and if you've watched my channel, you'll know that LEGO is way more than just sitting on a shelf. You just a little bits of your own stamp on stuff. You feel so much better when it's sat on a shelf and you're looking at it going, that's got my little twist on it. And then when somebody's coming around, so LEGO's sort of popular now, and if anybody does say, "Oh, this is a LEGO set," chances are, people say it with my bugle all the time. When they see it, they're like, "Was that the bugle?" Because it doesn't look like the bugle now, but it still looks like the bugle. And I go, "Yeah, I've changed it to the Wayne Tower." And they go, "Oh, right, yeah." And I think people forget you can do that with LEGO, and you're not gonna do anything to it really, in terms of if you're really worried about the value, because it's only sat on a shelf anyway. If you're going to get rid of it, then you can always put it back. It's not like you've lost. A lot of the Daily Bugle stuff, I just put the parts that I didn't use that were printed or specialist to the bugle, just put them in a bag, put them away. So if I want to put it back, just take the pieces out. You get the piece count with the instructions, put it back as it was, and shift it on. But yeah, these are my thoughts, and it just felt like I needed to do a video like this just for myself, and hopefully you got something out of it. And maybe we'll do some more. Some people ask me to do some. I'm sure other people say don't bother doing any. But yeah, so hopefully we'll get back to some mock building and get some more stuff on my channel, with Castle and other things that I'm doing and working on Bricktastic currently at the time of this recording. And if I can get back there and get some content back up, I will as soon as I can. But yeah, thanks for watching, and here it is, the new Modular Museum. What do you think? Thanks. Bye.